DHCP server, right? From the management server. Okay. So let's look at the smart architecture overview. Now, when you're going to provision multiple server, so as I mentioned to you, right? In the distributed architecture for Solid Server, you're going to have a management server managing multiple DNS server, managing multiple DHCP server, right? And when you manage multiple DHCP server or DNS server, you want to have a high available architecture, right? Yeah. So when you want to have a high available architecture, you might need to have different configuration for the different role of server. Just like if you're going to set up DNS, you want to have high availability service for DNS. You want to set up master and slave architecture. So you might have multiple server, multiple slave, or you might have one server, one server, multiple slave, your choice. So you're going to manage this different role of DNS server. So you're going to configure the master, right? As a master, you're going to configure the slave as a slave. So if you're going to manually do all these configuration one by one, it might be misconfigured. It might be tedious and it might be misconfigured. You see that, right? So that's why when you're going to configure this architecture, one master, two slave example, right? Yeah, you have to configure individually. You might have misconfiguration, right? And modification might be complicated in the future. See, so when you want to change something, you have to go and change the master, and you might also need to go to the slave individually and change it. And what happens when you want to add more slave? See, so you need to reconfigure the new slave. See, yeah. Oh, so these are a bit sort of like is a bit tedious in order for you to maintain multiple server individually, correct? So the new approach for using Solid Server, if you're using Solid Server for managing multiple DNS or DHCP server, you can use the smart architecture. So the smart architecture is something like a container. You can say a smart architecture is actually like a template. Oh, so you choose the architecture template, right? And then you configure the template. Fine. So once the template is configured, sorry, when I say configure the template means you configure the DNS in the template. See? So once you do your configuration on the template, then you can add the DNS server as the member to the template, and define the role. So if you add a master into the template, then the template will push the master configuration to the master member role, to the master role. See? Then when you add a slave into the template, then the template will actually push the slave configuration to the slave role automatically. Okay, that right? So that's why using the smart architecture, you're going to manage the smart architecture and you're going to configure on the smart architecture. The configuration will be pushed down to the member respectively based on the role. Okay, right? Yeah, here is to show you the smart architecture, right? The smart architecture is applicable to both DNS and DHCP. You have the predefined architecture. You will see what are the predefined architecture later on. You pick the right architecture you want. In DNS, you have around 4 or 5 architecture. In DHCP, you also have around 4 or 5 architecture predefined. So you pick one that match your requirement. Are you clear with that? Right? So after you select the architecture, right, then you will be able to add member to the architecture, right? And then the configuration will be automatically pushed down. Right? It also support multi-vendor. So you can have other vendor DNS or DHCP server managed by the template, managed by the smart architecture. See, so not only the member can be solid server, but also can be other vendor server, or like Windows DNS server. Okay, so this is actually to give you the step, right? So first of to use the smart architecture, you go to the management server. You go to the management server. On the management server, you choose a template. Whether it's a DNS, you choose a template for DNS, you choose a template for DHCP. So choose one, right? So once you have chosen the template, right, then you're going to configure the template, right? Yeah. For example, if you are choosing the master and slave template, then now you go to the master and slave template. You create the zone, right? You configure the server, you configure the zone, you add resource record to the zone. So whatever thing you configure on the template, it will be stored on the management database. No, it will be stored on the management database. Right? So once you have done the configuration on the template, even without the member, you can configure the template, configure the server setting, configure, create zone, right? Create resource record, everything, right? Yeah, even without the member, you do it on the smart architecture template. After that, you can add member. So when you add member to the template, right? You define the role. So which one is the master? NS1 is master, NS2 is slave, NS3 is slave. So once you add the member, it will automatically push the configuration to the member. Are you clear with that? Right? Yeah. And now, whatever modification you want to do now, you will modify it on the template, not on the member. Right? Because you want to centralize manage, right? Yeah. So you're going to manage multiple servers using the template. So whatever modification, whatever new configuration, you will configure it on the template. The template will push it down to the member. Or the member become read-only. The member become read-only. So if you try some of the configuration, if you try to go to the member, you cannot create, you cannot add, you cannot modify, because the members are read-only. You can only go to the template and do it. Is okay? So all the changes must be done. All the changes must be done on the template. Okay? Yeah. So that is a smart architecture. Clear? Okay, now here is to show you adding server to the smart architecture. So you can see when you have a, let's say currently you already have a smart architecture. They manage 3 server. 3 server. So in the future, you want to add additional server. So you can just install the server. After you install the server, you add the server into the template. The template will automatically push the configuration to the new server, right? Accordingly to the role. You see that? So these are very good for scalability. So you can easily scale by adding server. The configuration will automatically be pushed to the new server. Right? Yeah. Okay, now, this is just a warning to you. This is just a warning to you. If you add a server into the template as a member, the existing configuration on the server will be removed because it will be replaced by the template. It will be replaced by the configuration that is pushed down from the template. Oh, yeah. So your existing configuration, let's say, for example, you might have an existing DNS server, existing. Oh, so now you want to add this existing DNS server into the template now as a member. So once you push it in, once you add it in, the existing DNS configuration on the server is gone. It will be replaced by the configuration from the template. Okay, this? Yeah. So these are the different architecture you have for DHCP. You have 4 for DHCP, you have 5 for DNS. These are the predefined template. Predefined smart architecture. Okay, that right? Yeah, we will learn it one by one later on when we go to DNS and DHCP. Okay, we will cover that. Oh, now here is to show you the advantage of having a smart, simple, error-free. Oh, so whatever thing you configure on the template, it will be pushed down to the member, right? Yeah, and whatever thing being pushed down will be based on the best practice and error-free, right? The smart architecture template are normally a reliable architecture, reliable, high availability, right? And also the configuration will be also reliable because you won't make unnecessary mistake. If you manually configure the server one by one, you might have configuration mistake, right? But pushing down from a template is much reliable than you configure it, right? Error-free. It's always a high availability architecture, mostly. And of course, it's easy to scale. You can easily add member. You can add member, you can remove member as and when you want, right? And it's also good for disaster recovery. You can replace the member, right? Yeah, when the member is 40, you just have to remove the 40 member, you add a new member. The configuration will be pushed to the new member, right? So in terms of scalability, so you can just add the server and yeah, into the template, the configuration will be pushed down to the new server, right? New member. Fine. The existing configuration of the new member will be removed and replaced by the configuration from the architecture. Fine. Okay, you can easily replace the server. You can replace the member. If the member is down, reinstall a new member, right? And reinstall a new server and add the new server as a member, replacing the old one. See? And configuration is automatically pushed. Right? You can easily migrate the architecture. You can choose an architecture and replace it with another architecture. For example, currently you are using master and slave architecture, currently already in production. Now you can change to use a style. You see? So you can, when you choose, when you can convert the architecture, means that you can convert the template. So you can convert from master slave to style, or from style to master slave, does not matter. The template will be reconfigured and the new configuration will be pushed down to the member automatically. So you can change the template on the fly. Okay, that can follow? Yeah. Yeah, this is just a quick one to see whether you have understanding about the smart architecture. Maybe you can help me to answer this. When DHCP or DNS server is added to the smart, any data it contains is replaced by data from the smart architecture, true or false? I need an answer. Give me an answer.
True. True.
It's true, right? Yep. Okay, it's being replaced. Now, the member of the smart architecture must be added first in order to start adding data to the smart.
True.
Again, sorry, true or false?
True.
No.
True.
No. Remember this step here? You see this 3 step? Okay. So you can configure the smart first before you add member. Step 2, step 3. Okay? Yeah, don't need. Even the template, you just have to configure the architecture without member. Possible. You can add the member in the later. Okay? Yeah. Okay, fine. So that is what you have. Oh, okay. Smart architecture automatically decide the role for each member added. Yes, correct. You need to choose the role. Yeah, when you add member, you add the member and you define the role. Okay. Yes. So false. It's not automatic. Okay, great. That's all. That's all for this module, and there's no lab. Okay. Fine. Any questions for today's lesson? Anything? Any question regarding what we have covered today? Everything good for you? The data. Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. Oh, okay. Now, no impact, no impact, no impact. Actually, the over here is just to tell you you don't need to add member to configure the template. They don't need. But if you already have a member, then you add data. That's fine. It's exactly the same, no different. So there's no such thing as which one is good or bad. No, it's just that it's flexible. It's flexible. Yes, yes, yes. You are right. Yes, yes. Yeah, it's okay for that. That's yeah. Oh, no different, I would say. Oh, just that you can either do it before or after. It does not matter. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Good question. Good question. Yeah, please continue to ask more. Okay. So I'm assuming no other question. Okay. Now we're going to stop here for today. Yeah. So we're going to continue tomorrow at 10 again. Okay. So to everyone, have a good evening. Yeah, and I'm going to see you tomorrow at 10. Okay.
Thank
You
you.
can, yeah, you
Okay.
can leave anytime. Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Radit.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.